How fast can a dynasty be reborn? How quickly can a city go from silence to sirens, from dread to delirium, from the last glare of a sunset to the blinding flash of a new dawn at crypto? If you feel your pulse picking up, you're not alone because something huge is moving beneath the surface, the kind of tremor that makes ticket prices jump, agents go dark, and rivals suddenly pretend they're not worried. They're worried. You can almost hear the echoes bouncing off the rafters. A single decision that bends the entire Western Conference. A phone call that rewrites rotations in Phoenix, Denver, San Francisco, Dallas. And here's the maddening part. We're stuck in that split second before the thunderclap, where every rumor feels both ridiculous and inevitable. What if the chessboard we thought we knew has been rearranged while everyone was still arguing about mid-levels and two-ways? I keep asking myself, what would it take for the Lakers to stop reacting and start dictating again? Not a cute midseason flyer. Not a bench spark. I'm talking about a jolt that resets the hierarchy overnight. The kind of move that turns road crowds into tourists and home crowds into witnesses. When the right star slips into the right jersey, the mood of the league changes. The game tilts. The margins that used to crush you suddenly become breaks that save you. And there's another scent in the air. The scent of timing. You know that. Moment when a fan base feels it before the analysts do. When every barbershop take sounds outlandish until, oddly, it doesn't. That's this moment. A handful of private conversations, a few flights that don't make sense, a silence from the usual leakers. And suddenly the whispers are walking with their shoulders back. Something's off. Or perfectly on. Imagine the ripple effect. Defensive schemes rewritten in one afternoon. Matchups that used to bully us now backing up a step. The ball slowing down in the fourth because veterans smell blood. We've sat through enough almost to recognize the weight of a real what if, and this one has a strange, inevitable gravity. Like it always belonged here, like purple and gold have been waiting for a certain stride, a certain calm, a certain killer quiet. You can dismiss it as fan fiction. You can say the numbers don't add up. But numbers always get creative when the vision is clear. Ask anyone who's lived through this franchise's best eras. Reality bends when the Lakers decide it must. All that matters is fit, timing, and the will to make it happen. The rest is paperwork and people pretending they're in control. Let me paint it without names. Picture a wing who treats the mid-post like his private office, who doesn't need the ball to hum, but turns your offense into an MRI. Every weakness lit up, every bad defender forced to confess. Picture a star who sniffs out the biggest possession and steals it, or suffocates it, or quietly ends it with a pull-up that sounds like a door closing. Picture fourth quarters that feel shorter because your heartbeat slows down when he's there. Now, picture the psychology. LeBron's gravity adds rim, and this silhouette floating between them like a cold front. The angles would look different overnight. The corners become knives, the elbows become traps, and you'd suddenly notice how quiet the noise gets in hostile arenas when a certain kind of assassin strolls to the line without blinking. This would not be fireworks. This would be anesthesia. If this feels like myth-making good. Dynasties are built on myths that become rituals. The question isn't, could it happen? The question is, what if it already started? What if the door that looked locked was just heavy? What if the string everyone tugged for years finally gave? If you've been around this league long enough, you've seen it. Fate hates a vacuum, and the Lakers have been auditioning inevitability for months. So let's stop dancing around it. The 10th paragraph is where talk becomes a name. The silhouette has a face. The quiet has a voice. The assassin has a passport stamped all over June. It's Kawhi Leonard. Sit with that. Say it out. Loud if you have to. The fit isn't theoretical. It's terrifying. The spacing becomes adult. The shot diet matures. The late game calculus simplifies to a sentence. Get to your spot, get the stop. Go home. LeBron's minutes shrink without losing meaning. Adds workload shift from carry a city to close the city. And a third present stoic. Meticulous, almost clinical turns game sevens into appointments instead of emergencies. There's a reason coaches talk about floor of calm. That's what this would be, a floor of calm layered on top of two supernovas. You can run 1,000 pick-and-roll combinations, but the story on the tape would be the defense. Wings who used to hunt mismatches suddenly find nothing but mirrors. Corner threes that were clean start to feel itchy with a 7-foot wingspan in the neighborhood. And the rebounds. The rebounds become sentences that end runs before they start. And don't underestimate the cultural shock. The city that watched. Banners collected like vinyl would remember what it feels like to expect. You feel it in the parking lot before tip. You feel it in the lull between the third and fourth when the opponent usually breathes. Not anymore? This would be the year breathing got expensive. Because a lineup with that kind of temperament doesn't roller coaster. It stalks. Of course the accountants will raise their hands. They always do. They'll talk about cap math and clauses and what can or cannot be written on a napkin in July. They'll throw acronyms like confetti and call it certainty. But front offices don't climb mountains with calculators. They climb with alignment. If the room wants it, if the timeline begs for it, if the player decides his next chapter is written in purple ink, pathways appear that didn't exist before breakfast. I'm not telling you fairy tales. I'm telling you sequences. Quiet conversations become frameworks. Frameworks become choices. Choices become phone calls that make other phone calls irrelevant. And then one afternoon, the push notification hits your lock screen and the city loses its mind. Somewhere a rival coach closes his laptop. Somewhere a rival fan tweets through the stages of grief. Somewhere a kid in Inglewood prints a new poster for his wall. Let's talk ball, because the hype has to cash checks. Offense first. The half court suddenly has multiple solve buttons. LeBron still orchestrates, a D still punishes, and a new piece bends the weak side like a paperclip. Post-split actions become landmines. Elbow touches turn into handoffs that detonate. Late clock, you're not chucking your best mid-range killer is stepping into a rhythm he's rehearsed 10,000 times. Defense next. Imagine sending waves of length at the league's loudest scorers. Switch, peel, stun, recover, scram, rinse, repeat. The steal numbers wouldn't need to spike. The shot quality against would collapse on its own. Every possession would feel heavier to the other. Sigh because they'd be hearing footsteps, even when no one is there. That's what elite wings do. They turn air into pressure. Role players. They feast. Shooters eat cleaner looks. Connectors get easier reads. The kid who's been teasing elite finally lands it because the game slows to the tempo of a chess clock. Even the backup guard who lives off angles finds more of them because the defense is staring at the triangle of doom on the strong side. This isn't just a star joining. It's an atmosphere changing. And the West? Oh, the West would talk tough for a week. Then the film would start telling truths. You'd hear about staying the course while rotations get shorter and glances get longer. Contenders are brave until repetition breaks them. If this happens, repetition will be our hobby. You'll get used to the same headlines. Methodical, measured, merciless. Banners never do not smash the pause and breathe with me if you want this kind of breakdown every night. Follow like, do the thing. And let's keep this room of diehard Laker hearts beating in sync. Now, gloves off. Let's trace the path that turns a shocking whisper into a signature. Not fantasy, a path. First principle, alignment. The front office, the stars, the player three lights that have to turn green at the same time. When they do, the cap sheet stops being a cage and becomes a puzzle. Expirings, partial guarantees, swaps, protections you don't have to memorize the vocabulary to understand the point. The Lakers have built their roster to keep doors open. When a door like this shows up, you don't debate. You walk through it. Second principle, timeline. LeBron is still LeBron. But no empire bets on forever. AD is in his prime, an all-NBA backbone who erases mistakes and manufactures wins. Add a third force who lowers the nightly load on both, and the timeline stretches more freshness in April, more bite in May, more nerve in June. You're not buying a single playoff run. You're buying posture. Posture beats panic every time. Third. Principle, identity. The Lakers at their best are not a fireworks show. They are a gravity well. The ball finds the best shot because the defense can't afford to breathe. A certain two-time Finals MVP doesn't hijack that. He perfects it. He is a tempo, a thermostat. He turns noise into notes and makes the fourth quarter feel like a clinic instead of a clinic fire. If you're still wrestling with the picture, bring it down to a single possession. Tie game, 1:18 on the clock. Advance the ball. LeBron scans the weak side tag. AD drifts into the dunker spot. Our new closer goes a screen and catches at the nail. One hard jab, 1-2 dribble stride, and a 14-footer that lands like a judge's gavel. Jog back, set your feet. Now the other team has to beat 3 different kinds of calm. Most nights, they won single quotes zoom out. Practice habits change when the hierarchy is real. The 5th starter understands his job. The 8th man knows when he'll check in. The film sessions get shorter because the fixes get clearer. The strength coach can actually periodize because you're not chasing form every other week. The collective heart rate drops, and paradoxically, the collective speed rises. That's what happens when a locker room believes. This is where the fan base matters. Expectation is not arrogance. It is fuel. Crypto turns into a truth serum when legends walk back in. Opponents who are rowdy for 30 minutes go quiet for the last 6 because they feel the building leaning. It sounds silly until you live it. Thousands of people believing the same outcome is a strategic advantage. Stars know it. Coaches plan for it. Refs feel it. Now, let's address the elephant everyone pretends not to see: health. The skeptical. Chorus will bark, but can he stay on the floor? Fair question. Here's the answer. You don't make a move like this unless your sports science, medical, and performance teams sign the same sheet of music. Minute plans. Back-to-back plans. Travel plans. Rest windows disguised as maintenance. This franchise has done it before. It will do it again if the prize justifies the discipline. Another chorus. What about the cost? The only cost that matters is opportunity cost. If the alternative is drifting, clinging to good not great while the West reloads again, then the cost of not acting is the steepest bill in sports: wasted years. If the room believes, if the player chooses, the accountants aren't obstacles, they're architects. They draw the bridge after leadership decides which mountain to cross. Picture the first month. The offense will look quiet. Not sloppy, not loud, quiet. The good kind, where the ball doesn't rattle because the reads are preloaded. You'll notice possessions ending at 6 on the shot clock instead of 2, because the first great look is better than the last desperate one. On defense, you'll notice fewer scrambles, more chest to chest, more risks in passing lanes, more layups turned into floaters, floaters turned into passes, passes turned into turnovers. That's not hype, that's geometry. And the coaching? Benches love stars who coach with their feet. Watch the small stuff, where our new wing stands during free throws, which teammate he points at after a stop, how he refuses the screen to force a rotation he scouted 2 days earlier. These are breadcrumbs that add up to a meal. Young wings copy it. Vets snap into it. Pretty soon you're not asking for buy-in. You're swimming in it. There will be nights it looks too simple to be true. That's the giveaway that it is true. Because the last evolution of this team doesn't need noise. It needs margins. Add a closer who lives in the margins, and you get a machine that wins without needing to burn at 10 every possession. You can win at 7 and still be at 10 when it's time. That's how trophies are lifted without hearts exploding. Let's be brutally honest about the fear this puts into the rest of the West. Denver hates ISO killers who don't blink. Phoenix hates length that erases the second action. Dallas hates wings who turn lobs into turnovers. The Warriors hate silence because silence means they can't feel your panic. And everyone hates when the Lakers start playing chess again. Hate is respect by another name. Think of the stories we get to tell. The comeback that wasn't frantic because it never felt out of hand. The road trip that flipped from survive it to sweep it. The rookie who found his voice because the pecking order gave him clean minutes to grow. The vet who cut 5 pounds because the room smelled June. These are the little consequences of a big decision. This is what happens when your best players make everybody else's job easier by existing. We should talk about fit one more time because it is the entire sermon. Ball dominance worries? Don't. The right star scales down possession by possession without losing impact. You can take 10 shots and end the game anyway because 3 of them rearrange the scoreboard and 4 of them erase the other teams. Confidence. He doesn't compete with LeBron's mind or D's rim. He completes them. That's the difference between adding points and adding a pulse. I'll give you a final image. Game 6. Not at home. Fourth quarter under 5. A timeout where the other team stares at the floor. Our huddle is smaller, quieter. The board has 3 lines on it, not 12. We walk out, run a simple action, get a bucket, get a stop, get another. Bucket. Camera cuts to a face that barely moves. Somewhere in Los Angeles, 1,000,000 shoulders drop at the same time. Somewhere in June, a door opens. If your heart is racing, good. It means you still recognize inevitability when it knocks. The Los Angeles Lakers have always been a franchise that answers. And if the answer this time is a 2-time Finals MVP with a surgeon's patience and a killer's memory, then the league won't just feel. They'll have to live with it. Believe. Be ready. There is also the media storm that follows a move like this. Headlines will swing between praise and panic. Media pressure can crack a fragile locker room. It cannot crack a room built on quiet habits. The best answer to a hot take is a cold first quarter where the score reads 12-4 and every shot looked the same. Simple, strong, selected. Legacy matters here. LeBron wants the chapters to read clean. A D wants the years to read healthy. A third star with a minimalist soul gives them both. It shortens the story without shrinking the stakes. It turns a season from a search party into a march. You can feel the difference the first week. The team stops trying to prove who they are and starts repeating who they are. And now, because we keep it honest with our own, the final note. This is speculation electric, reason, obsessively mapped speculation. Until ink meets paper, it's a vision. But visions are how banners start.